What's up, Misfits? And today I'm just going to get right into it, and that is the number one thing that I see so many barrel racers do wrong is not get their horses soft enough in the face. Now I think there's so many things that you could say is number one, but this one is pretty up there at the top because it's so fundamental. If you want to have a good smooth pattern, you have to get your horses soft in the face. So what we mean by soft in the face is when I pick up on that rein, I want them to break at the pole. I want them to break at the pole, be soft in the rein. I want there to be a little bit of slack, just like that. I want them to do it at a standstill. I want them to do it at a walk, trot, and a lope, and especially at a run. You will have such a better pattern if you can accomplish this. So that's what I'm going to show you how to do today. It's all about learning your pressure and release timing, and learning feel. The feel, that's probably the most difficult one for me to describe because feel is it's something you develop over time. So the more horses you work, the better you're going to get at it, especially if you really pay attention to a run that you've had that really felt good. Remember like that barrel that you had that you were just like, oh dang, that was so great, and you're trying to recreate it. Remember that feeling of that good barrel and try to achieve that in your slow work. So what we're going to do today is getting this horse soft in the face. Now Rip, he's already pretty good at it. This is the number one thing, is like I teach my horses outside of the round pen immediately. Once they learn forward, back, left, and right, I'm doing this, right? So what I am looking for while I'm doing this is I want them to bend through their entire body, from the nose to their tail. And while they're doing that, I want them to hold that shape with slack in the rein and to not try to bring their head to a neutral position until I let go of the rein, right? So how we go about doing this is I'm going to ask them to move forward. Now in the beginning, your horse may refuse a little bit. They might put a little bit of pressure on that bit. So what I do, I keep my hand here at my pocket, this spot right here. I keep my hand here and it acts like a bumper. Now I'm just going to hold it here, and if they want to sit there and just kind of tug on my hand, I'm going to use my fingers, bring them back around, use my fingers and just kind of bump, 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 bump until I get that slack in the rein, and then I'm going to give a little bit. But I'm not going to give their head all the way, meaning that neutral position, until I feel them kind of start bending through their body. Now on a young horse, this may be 1 or 2 steps, and then I'll go ahead and release. But ultimately, like I said, that slack in the rein is the most important thing that I'm looking for, and I want them to hold that there, again, until I drop that rein. So we're going to do this at a trot. Rip here, he's a little bit lazy until you get him on the pattern, and then he's like, go, go, go. But that's fine. So right here, he's wanting to go to the house the other direction, so we're just gonna, there, have him shape up, soften up. So again, maintain that momentum, maintain that slack in the rein. I'm keeping my hand in my spot. Whenever he, right there, tries to put his head straight, take it back to a neutral position, I just bump his nose back around. Keep that slack in the rein. Yeah, I know. And then have him move on. Then as soon as he gives, as soon as he gives, I go ahead and kind of let him relax. Now, I don't want them to bring their head like all the way down to their knee, kind of like a reiner, because this is what a lot of the reiners do, right? This is how they teach their horses to kind of get that lower head. They're working on that collection throughout their whole body. But barrel racing, we don't want that, right? Now the backyard trainers, they might argue until they're blue in the face. Like, your horses have to work like a reiner, right? We're not reiners. We are barrel racers. We want our horses to shape up and get under themselves for the turn, but then we need them to free up. If they're going to stay under themselves like a reiner horse does for that stretch of the barrel, you're never going to clock. You're just not. So that's why when I give this horse his head, he takes it back to his. Now, he is naturally a little bit higher headed than most other horses, and that is totally fine. I'm totally fine with that. Because that's just his style. He is a longer bodied horse, so he's going to need a little bit more help to kind of get his butt underneath him, whereas a short coupled horse, they can just, it's natural for them. So if he needs to work a little more elevated on his front end, so his back end can do what it needs to do to get around the barrel efficiently, we're going to let him do that. But as long as he's staying soft in the face, I do not care. So you notice I'm doing a lot of these figure eights, and while I'm doing that, I start with my leg, he pushes his body over and he shapes up, and that's what I want. And again, start with the leg. There. And he feels really good. Ooh. Back. So, like I said, if you can teach your horse this simple thing, it's going to improve their pattern so much more. Now, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to show you at a lope and show you what we're doing while we're loping these circles to keep that bend throughout their body and to keep them driving from their hip, pulling with their shoulder and bending at the rib cage, while also kind of giving their nose just a little bit. First off, on a young horse like Rip, I'm going to ask him to shape up. Before I ask for the lope, kind of bring his nose down, because the one thing I don't want to do that I don't want him to do that we are currently working on is when he goes to lope, he likes to kind of pick up his head and elevate and then take off. What that does is that does not build his top line and that muscle when it comes to leaving a barrel. When we leave a barrel, we want them to stay nice and level. We don't want them to kind of elevate like that. So how we build that muscle is we just do a lot of this. Ask for the lope. There. Now again, he works a little more elevated, so I'm not going to nag on him about getting his head lower. But what I do want is that softness in his nose, in his poll, bending at the rib cage. I want to feel him pulling forward and driving from that hip. I might use a little bit of my outside rein if I feel like he's getting too elevated, to kind of ask for him to bring that head down some. Because again, we also need to work that top line. Yeah, I know, sneeze. The only way you're going to work that top line is when you have them work a little bit low, but again, I'm not going to nag at him for what his conformation can't allow, and that is to really work down low. So right now I'm in the pasture. If I was in the arena, I'd be asking him to work some pretty tight circles like I do the spiral. I'd come in, work some tight circles, go back out to lope and wide, come back in, lope some tight circles. But out in the pasture, we're going to maintain this nice shape on this size circle because we don't want him slipping and losing his confidence. So we're just going to hang out right here and ask for that shape. Right there, he's wanting to go back to the house, so use my outside calf. I'm not using my spur until I absolutely want to. Right there. Kind of lay my leg there. That felt pretty good. Ooh. Now, stopping in the pasture, I'll be honest. I don't want them to slam their butt in the ground like they would normally do in the arena. I'm going to make sure they kind of stop nice and even and slow, just so they learn, like, we don't have to slam our butt on this slick grass. So that's how my mare Tari got hurt. A dog charged us and she slammed on her butt because it was coming straight for her nose, and when she did that, I was just long trotting the perimeter of my fence, and she planted her butt in the ground, slipped, and ended up tearing a ligament in her hock. So we try to always make sure we stay nice and balanced in the pasture. So again, now this side, he is a lot stiffer. Like on this side, he does what we call just flexing the neck and not using any part of his body. But this is the side that he turns a better barrel on. So he is a righty when it comes to running barrels. So how we work with a horse that's stiff on one side and bendy on the other, again, ask for him to shape up. Ask for him to give. He's already trying to lay into that bit. So I'm just going to hold it here. There, that was a little bit better. So I can kind of feel it, like right here. He's trying to straighten his body up. He's bobbing his head a lot more. So I'm going to use my outside rein a little bit. Use my inside leg. Kind of drive his body into a bend. There. And I will hold that pressure until he bends his body. Wanted to run through the bit a little bit there, but that's fine. Just hold that pressure until he gives, and then we'll release. It feels really good right here. Then he gets on this high side. He wants to straighten out because he wants to go back to the house, so I just lay my spur into him. Teach him that's not good. We don't want him pushing into that bit, because ultimately what he does off the pattern, he will do on the pattern. So we want to fix it off the pattern before we even put him on barrels. It feels really good now. I'm not using my outside rein near as much. Ultimately, when I use that inside rein, again, slack. Whoa, bro! That scared me more than it did. Oh dear. Oh, okay. So, again, I want him to shape up with just my inside rein. So, if I have to use my outside, I will, but as soon as he gives, I'm going to drop that outside and only use the inside. He's doing really good. So I'll go ahead and I'll stop him here after a minute. Especially on there. Ooh, good. That was a good stop for grass. Back up. There, go boy. Even with the gunshots going off, you did good. Yeah. My horses, honestly, they do not care. Our neighbors are constantly shitting. I think it startles me more than it does them. Oh, but anyway. Now, he's not perfect at this at all. Especially right now. Ooh. With it being winter, we have a very odd warm day here. Very abnormally warm day for December. So I figured this was a good time to show you all how I like to do that. And just to give you guys something to do in the winter. Like some of y'all may not have a lot of shows going on right now. So this is the perfect time to start really tuning on your horses, getting those fundamentals in before the next show season starts. And you can do this out in the pasture. Even if it's super soppy muddy, you just do this at a walk. Do this at a walk, at a trot, and just teach them to be soft in the face. Like, look at that nice slack in the rein. I'm using my leg, I'm just holding my hand. And then I drop the rein, and he straightens his head out. It's so simple, and yet so important for your horses to know this. So anyway, with that said, I will see you all in the next video, and until then, work hard, stay misfits, and let's get out of here before they start shooting some more. Yeah. You're a good boy.